What's up, guys? Jared Lords here, doing a different type of video today. I do have my reviews for The Walking Dead Dead City. I kind of combined episodes 3 and 4 together, so that'll be coming out due to the July 4th holiday. I missed episode 3, but I'll have those both as one merged vlog, probably just tomorrow to avoid the delay. But there was a piece of gaming news that actually came through my feed late yesterday, and it was kind of upsetting to me as like a gamer and also just somebody who's been in this around the industry for a while, been a fan of the industry, been a fan of this company, been a fan of the man really because of his leadership and decision making. For novel storytelling and just elevated complex characters and everything that goes into it. Of course, it's not just him; it's the team, it's the greater Naughty Dog team that makes these games and kind of performs the magic. But essentially, if you don't know, Evan Wells, who is the co-president or has been the co-president of Naughty Dog for quite some time, started with the organization in about 1998. He has been there for the majority of their titles. I believe he joined when Crash Bandicoot 3 was being released, and he was there for the entirety of the Jak and Daxter saga, the entirety of the Uncharted saga, and then he was there for the first two Last of Us games. As of when I'm filming this, I do not know if they're actually making a third Last of Us. It would only seem natural given the TV show did so well, and I also enjoyed it. I had a vlog with my longtime co-op partner, and we talked about just how well we thought the show did. Even though the second game was controversial for a number of reasons, the show was an amazing homage to the first game. And so Naughty Dog has really been a standard of excellence, and they've been under the Sony brand for a long time. Their games have been exclusive to Sony for like as long as every single game they have, really. I'm not sure if the Crash Bandicoot games were ported over somewhere else, because I think those rights got sold to Activision, but everything following the Jak, Uncharted, and Last of Us series are all PlayStation exclusives, and it's really been for the different console eras, PS2, PS3, 4, 5, whatever, like it's defined those eras. Like whenever you think of the best PlayStation games, you think of those games. And I've talked about this in a couple of really old vlogs about how much the Jak and Daxter series especially impacted me, because I always say to people, and it's kind of like the question that I like to answer of like, how did you get into storytelling? What inspired you? For me, I always consider the very first Jak and Daxter game to be the first complex storytelling experience that I absorbed and immersed myself in start to finish. The story of the first Jak and Daxter game was pretty simplistic, but it still had a plot nonetheless. The second game was where things really picked up and got really complex, and that was where the gears started turning for me, loving just as growing up, playing with old Thomas the Tank Engine trains and just any toys I could. Storytelling just always came naturally to me from a young age, and seeing the level of complexity within these kind of cartoony games for Jak and Daxter, and to add that layer of complexity and the dark undertone that the first to the second game, like never have I seen a series take such a massive leap, where you have this whimsical, fun, kind of playful game in the first one. Bright colors, vibrant, just like a fun, childish adventure. There's fights and violence, and the villains are pretty foreboding. But once you get to the second game, like there is a tonal shift. I mean, there's guns and there's some swearing. it's in a dystopian society. It's the upgrade, and just how they went from 1 to 2. Like, it's just a massive change. But there are a lot of things in obviously the gameplay mechanics, the platforming, all those things retain themselves and the characters themselves. I mean, Jak and Daxter. I mean, Kira, Samos, like those characters, they all carry over into the new story in the second game. And I still remember being in Walmart and seeing Jak 2 on the shelves and being like, is that the sequel? Like, is that the sequel to the game that we got a couple months ago? Like, I didn't think it was. But like, I saw Daxter and I'm like, okay, that's definitely the sidekick. And I convinced my mom to get it. It said rated T for teen, and she did not realize the violence factor. But I'm like, oh, it's a sequel to the game that I played like a few months ago. Like, come on. She's like, oh, okay, well, that game was fine, so the sequel's got to be fine, right? Nope. Well, it's got some adult things in it. It was too late by then, though. So, yeah, memorable experiences, as you just heard. For Evan and his team, and he was he really spearheaded things for a long time. Obviously, there was Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin, who were pretty much the founders of Naughty Dog. They left after Jak 3, and then it was Evan who stepped up. But I wanted to read, I'm not sharing my screen right now, but I just wanted to read he had like a brief message that he left on the Naughty Dog homepage. They've been tweeting and sharing this on all their social media. So it says, co-president Evan Wells announces his retirement from Naughty Dog. He says, dogs, after 25 years at Naughty Dog, I wanted to share with all of you that I've decided to retire at the end of this year. End of this year? Okay, so wait, he's not retired. He will... So we have to assume whatever the next game Naughty Dog's working on, like, he's still going to have a substantial hand in it. So I guess that's a key factor. When I saw this, I thought he was like retiring like today, like that he was just hanging up his badge and leaving. End of the year. Okay, so I mean, I guess that makes sense because again, like he makes mention in this about well, you'll get to it, but like he talks about the new game they're working on, that like he's sad that he has to leave in the middle of development, but he's excited for it. This is something that I've been discussing with Naughty Dog's studio leadership team for well over a year. And with Neil for even longer than that. The decision brings with it overwhelming and conflicting emotions, but I've come to realize that I'm content with my time at the studio and all that we've accomplished together over the last 25 years. I couldn't be more confident in Neil's ability to carry on running the studio. It's the right time for me to provide the opportunity for him and the others on the studio leadership team to steer the studio into a successful future. Well, we'll talk about that later. I've been making games professionally for over 30 years. Naughty Dog has been my home for over half my life. I've seen the studio grow from hire number 14, which was me during the Crash 3 days in 1998, to over 400 dogs today. Wow, 400. I thought Naughty Dog would be a bigger company than 400. I don't know. Maybe that's why. At certain points, I have tried to look into careers that they offer. And as you can imagine, it's difficult. A lot of the careers also, they're all in like game design, coding stuff. Like I'm not like graphical artists. Like that's obviously not my background. He continues, every major life's milestone I can track with a Naughty Dog project. I met my wife during Crash Team Racing. We took our honeymoon after shipping Jak 2. Had our first child E3 week when we announced Uncharted Drake's Fortune. And our second child was born right in the thick of the development on The Last of Us. Damn, that's pretty crazy. Working has been awe-inspiring, and I have nothing but gratitude for everything that I've been able to learn and be a part of. And getting to collaborate with the passionate and driven teams at SIE and the other PlayStation studios has been a pleasure. I've never taken for granted the opportunity I've had to be surrounded by such impressive and creative talent, and I'm thankful to all, past and present, for teaching me so much. There's never a perfect time to step away, but I'm incredibly confident that I'll be leaving the studio in the best hands. Neil and the rest of the capable and dynamic studio leadership team, perfectly suited to ensure Naughty Dog continues to lead the industry, not only in the games we make, but the environment in which we make them. I'm positive that Naughty Dog will continue to push the industry and our medium forward. Couldn't be more excited about our current projects, and not getting to see those games to completion is going to be hard. So this is what I was talking about earlier. But we've never had a stronger team in place to ensure that we will deliver them in a way that will set industry standards and exceed all expectations. Finally, to all the dogs in the kennel, I am humbled to see what you have all accomplished, and I'm thrilled to have the honor to watch from the sidelines as you all continue to uphold the well-established developmental culture that has led to our good fortune and string of successful games. I have no doubt Naughty Dog will reach new heights and continue to raise the bar for the state of the art. Thank you for what has truly been a tremendous adventure. I'm thrilled to see what the future holds for this inspiring team. I'm so proud of all of you. And then there's a final picture of him. There's a picture of him with a Crash Bandicoot guy in a Crash Bandicoot suit. That's funny. And the Crash Bandicoot suit is at least two... Well, hold on a minute. I really got to obviously show this to you guys. So, hold on a sec. Here. You can see this right here. This freaking guy trapped in the suit. It's pretty funny. Alright. Well. Very well said. Moving words, of course. Again, he's been a pioneer of the gaming industry for a long time, as he said. He has been through what? I mean, how many console generations, right? If he started in 98, that was PlayStation 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he's been there for 4 or 5 console generations. I mean, that's just, no one could say that he did not put his stamp on. If there's some sort of, Mount Rushmore or, star on the Hollywood Star or something. I mean, he deserves a stamp. With any of the significant greats who have made notable games over the years. I mean, he absolutely deserves some type of VIP, MVP award. Yeah, so a couple things there. The first, I had mentioned that, is, because I just figured this out live, that he's not leaving today. He's leaving at the end of the year. That's fun fact. So Naughty Dog hasn't announced, to my knowledge, what the heck they're doing yet. I know there's like the Last of Us multiplayer game or something like that. I mean, but that's not really a next title. I mean, I'm talking something like The Last of Us 3 or a new IP, possibly a new Jak and Daxter game. But I think that's one thing for me. As a diehard Jak and Daxter fan, the fact that it is my favorite gaming series. I've said this to a couple friends, but I think, I've wanted a Jak 4 forever. And there was, if any of you know the history, they were going to make it in 2012, which was ironically the 10-year anniversary of Jak and Daxter. It kind of all aligned, right? They had just finished Uncharted 3, and they wanted to go back, and you can look up all these images online. I also have the Naughty Dog art book where it has all of the concept designs, because they were going to make it. They actually, there's a PlayStation 4 theme background. When Limited Run Games did the collections for all of the behind the scenes stuff for Jak and Daxter, the final bonus was a background theme, and it shows this Clock City. It shows them exploring fighting machines, grinding on a rail, as these bombs try to get this wasn't just one or two mess around images. They deeply considered this title and were well into production. And then they stopped, and I think it was because where they were going with the game, they just didn't think that it was the direction that they didn't want to do a disservice to the fans, and I respect that. I mean, how many game studios and just creators have just made sequels just screw it? Ghostbusters. It's oh, screw it. We're just going to keep making these freaking Ghostbusters. There's probably other examples out there, but yeah, when a sequel gets made, when it doesn't have to be made, and it's just for the money, and you can tell. Actually, I haven't seen it, but I've heard some not so great reviews about the latest Indiana Jones film, so perhaps that is an accurate example, but I'll let people who watch that film be the judge. At some point I will, but I mean, I've seen the old Indiana Jones films. I've never been a big fan of the series in general. One of my friends is obsessed with it, but yeah, I respect that they took a reserved approach. It sucks that we didn't actually get a game. Like, I have a freaking Jack 4 game. Like, it's basically as much of it without the actual game. Like, I remember there was a Jack 4 game box that, like, you got for the limited run games collection. Like, it was as much teasing of a concept of this before actually, having a full game. So it's unfortunate, but I think now with Evan leaving, the old Naughty Dog guard is officially turned over, and there's, because obviously we know Neil Druckmann's been a controversial figure. Some of the stuff he did in The Last of Us 2 just did not make any sense. The way that story was structured was absolute garbage. I don't need to make a whole vlog going into that. I discussed part of that in the Last of Us TV review podcast thing that I did with my friend from a few months ago. So, we touch on it, in addition to our feelings on the TV series. So, I mean, I feel like it's not like it's radically gonna change. I mean, there will be some decisions that are just gonna be made off the cuff, because now Neil is kind of like, they were sharing power as co-presidents, and now this is almost like unchecked power. Like, he's just gonna make decisions. So I think that's a dangerous, slippery slope. I will embrace like what Naughty Dog tries to do next. I have played all their games. I was boycotting Last of Us 2 for the longest time. I did play a good amount of it, and then I just fell out with the story, as most people did. I just did not like it. The gameplay was good. Everything about like the presentation, and that's always been a staple of Naughty Dog games. The presentation, the style, the loading, the flow from area to area, the detail, like that is never questioned. It was just the decisions with the story after the first game was so incredible, start to finish, polished. So it's just like, it makes you concerned, like, what's the outlook here, and also like knowing how The Last of Us 2 ended, like, how could they even have room for a third game? Like, that just, I don't think there's enough story there to even make a third game. So I'm hoping that, this is maybe an opportunity because really this is Neil Druckmann's opportunity to put his stamp on a new IP. In my opinion, like, they could do something that's not Uncharted, not Jak, and not The Last of Us, and make what's that next series, franchise, new IP. And I think, like, this is a test for him as a content creator. Like, he doesn't have Evan's, fatherly knowledge of all things Naughty Dog. Like, it's just him and the team that's remaining, and a lot of them are new. So, how do they tackle the prospect of a new project like that? That's something to wonder. Like, I'm intrigued. Like, as a creator myself, like, I want other creators to succeed. I don't want there to be this, the crazy, stupid controversy when The Last of Us 2 came out. Like, I wish that story made sense. I really did. I love The Last of Us 1, and I love the TV series it's based on. And just now it's like, oh, now when season 2 of the show comes out, I have to dread it because it's going to freaking adapt the nonsense from that second game. So, I mean, it's going to get TV ratings. Everyone's going to want to see how certain things are adapted if you know how the second game plays out. But anyway, I'm just kind of talking about industry stuff in general here. But, I mean, Evan did influence a lot of the Naughty Dog stuff that we're discussing right now. So it's, congrats to him. I don't know where he's going next. I don't know if it's a new game studio. Is he just retiring in general? I mean, he seems like a pretty young guy. I feel like he's got, more working years to his career, and he's got such a wide, like his knowledge. Like, he's got a way. He's like a master sage. Imagine like starting a new gaming company or going to an existing gaming company and trying to make new projects and elevate them like. I think that would be crazy good. That's awesome. But I guess if he's at the company for the remainder of the year, then we won't know his endeavors and plans until sometime next year. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Kudos and congrats to the man that's made so many memorable games that I've enjoyed, and yeah, it's kind of sad news, but at the same time, he's been with the company for a long time. No one can say he did not put the time in and make his mark. So, all right. Thank you guys. I'll see you all later. Peace out.